Tucker Rosemyer's in here. Good morning, man. I got to get you tight on that microphone.
Okay.
There you go. We almost took your teeth out.
$6,000
So
worth of teeth.
I see you have quite the tan.
I'm sorry about that.
It happens.
Dr. Slavin, Dr. Jackson.
You have a tan. You've been out of town.
3 weeks in Costa Rica. Guanacaste, Playa Acatal. Been down there and working with plant medicine.
Okay, so tell your story. What I read on Facebook was you weren't holding anything back. You've had issues over the years.
Yeah, man. I just put it all out there because I know there's a lot of people suffering. From a very early age, I suffered from depression, and that started at 13, where suicidal thoughts. At one point, even at 13, I had the gun barrel in my mouth.
Wow,
it's quite sad. All through high school, I played sports, but I always had this anger, this depression. I didn't say anxiety back then, but I had a lot of anger growing up. And I allowed it to, I played football, I lifted weights, so that was a positive outlet. But it was always there. After high school, I started to experiment with drugs, self-medicating, and, marijuana was one of the things that I used to excess, because this is also a plant medicine and the world is waking up to that, and it has its uses, but it also could be abused. And then it got deeper into things like, cocaine and alcohol. And, I've struggled with addiction for 24 years. I really did, and there's been bouts where I've gone 8 months sober. I've off and on. I've never gave up. I knew that, I knew the person I was. I'm a very loving, giving person, and I'm a fighter. I'm a warrior, and I would never give up. So, I got divorced 5 years ago, and this really, really hit me hard. I lost karma. I was living in a trailer. I was driving my dad's minivan. I was broke. And that's when I opened Slice.
Restaurant. That's the restaurant you had down in Frankfurt.
Karma Piano Bar in Frankfurt. Used to come there quite a bit.
And I witnessed some of it. I mean, there would be times where, I'll just be honest, as long as your dad...
throw it out there.
Your dad would send me in the kitchen and say, because I spent a lot of time at that restaurant. Your food is incredible. Your dad would send me in the kitchen and say, "You can calm him down. You got to calm him down."
I made Gordon Ramsay look like Barry Manilow. You could hear me scream. At times I'd pound on the wall. But that's the nature of that business. That'll drive you crazy, and you get so wound up. You work so hard. Yeah. After work, you want to blow off some steam. So instead of going home and going to bed, you go drink or party or whatever. And that's what it got into. And ultimately, it ruined my marriage. It ruined a lot of my relationships. It was ruining my life. Luckily, I was able to pull it together after my divorce, where I had a bout of sobriety, and I opened Slice with my friend Pat Seeley. And that pretty much saved me financially. I was able to, come out of this, being broke and move out of the trailer and save some money. And I really made some money. And Slice has been a success for the last 4 years.
And the cheesecake next door as well.
And I opened up Purple Cow Cheesecake Company next door. I brought you some pistachio cannoli cheesecake, which is popping right now. I brought you one of these house pizzas and a couple of Claire's for the girls here. Nice. So, Slice has been great, so I got all this money now, and I got cars, I bought a Rolex, I was living in the Landmark, and I had pretty girlfriends, and I was never unhappier in my life. I would go to Miami, I'd be fine down there, I'd come home, I'm miserable. My kids are healthy, my grandparents are 90 years old, everything's good. Why am I so unhappy? Why am I so unhappy? What is wrong in my life? And I thought, for a long time, I was on Xanax. I was prescribed Xanax. I was prescribed Paxil. I was on Xanax for 5 years. I was on Paxil for 3 years. And honestly, the Paxil was the hardest thing to come off of. Aside from, I had when that whole thing went down a couple of years ago where I, insulted that lady on Facebook. I had just had an operation. I was on opiates. So I was on opiates for 3 months. So you say stuff that, you would normally never say,
right.
And there's no excuse for that.
I want to ask you, there's stories. There are stories from kitchens in Utica and the surrounding area, legendary stories that go way back. Like all of a sudden, the owner of the restaurant, I'm not going to mention which restaurant, comes out and like shuts the lights off. Everybody out. You're in the middle of your meal. Everybody out. True story. Really happened.
Yeah.
There were some stories where you maybe somebody wanted to send their steak back, and you'd come out and. Well, you tell your story.
Here's a story. One time I made this. I made some gnocchi, and this couple that always came to our restaurant.
Loyal couple.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
or no? Okay,
yeah,
so
I
I'm
do.
not going to mention their name. I don't want to embarrass them. So they complained about the macaroni. They sent it back to the kitchen. So I came out. I was eating the gnocchis. I was like, "Is this the problem?" But it's I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
And that hurt relationships. At that point,
oh my God, it's not good for
relationships.
I mean,
it's not good for business. But beyond that, there were relationships that mean a lot
I've
to
just,
you.
From my anger and manifesting and just physical violence. I mean, there was guys that worked for me where I've grabbed people by the throat. I've headbutted people.
Yeah.
I've been a crazy animal, and I'm not proud of that. But it was also a survival mechanism for me growing up. So this is not me. I'm a loving guy. If you know me, you know that I'll give the shirt off my back. I'll drive you to wherever you got to go. I'll do whatever you got to do.
And you're incredibly talented.
And I can cook. I really can.
You can cook. And your dad, of course, had
he taught me everything I know.
Allocations, cheesecakes. And
made your wedding cake.
Made our wedding cake. Your dad and mom are great people. And how have you seem to have turned things around. How have you done that?
Well, my relationship with my parents has been, tumultuous at times because, with business with my dad, I want it this way. He wants it that way, and my mom tried to stay out of it. And, a lot of times, she would get involved in it. So it just caused all kinds of fights. I went over almost a year and a half not talking to my mom.
Wow.
And,
it's hard to talk about.
I am now.
Yeah.
I apologized and I love my mom. I let her know that.
Well, I can't imagine what you've gone through, but you had to get out of town.
Yeah, man. So instead of checking into a psych ward or going back on meds, I started to research plant medicine, and this one plant medicine called ayahuasca. It comes from the Amazon rainforest, and it's been used down there for thousands of years. And so I found this place in Costa Rica. It was called Rosemyer. It's a life advancement center where, people from all around the world, doctors, lawyers, millionaires, drug addicts, everybody just is converging in Costa Rica to meet up and to use this plant medicine called ayahuasca, because we're all searching for healing. Even millionaires.
Right.
The guy that founded this place, he sold his business for $94 million. He was shooting Demerol 5 times a day. He had 10 cars, 2 planes, houses, Lamborghinis. Was miserable.
Yeah.
And he found this other medicine, iboga, which is what he used to cure himself. So now this life advancement center in Costa Rica called Rosemyer, they're selling ayahuasca. They're serving ayahuasca. So I went down there, high hopes, and the ayahuasca really got me going. While it's down there, it's really heavy medicine. This is like the strongest psychedelic in the world. It will make you see things and think things that makes Avatar look like Snoopy, like things that you could never even imagine in this world, and it's a really tough medicine, but it's healing people. But what I like to say is that I had a spiritual pneumonia, and ayahuasca is like using NyQuil on a pneumonia. So it'll make you feel better for the time being, but it didn't heal me totally. It just, some of my symptoms subsided. So then, I got back from Costa Rica and I was like, oh man, what am I doing? I can't stay here. And I headed to Peru to work with more ayahuasca. I went down to Peru, this place called Spirit Plant Journeys, where this fine mate from Australia has this program with a shaman from the jungle. And I was there for 2 weeks. I went to Machu Picchu, and I had tremendous results. But when I came home, it was the same thing. I found this other place. I found this other medicine called iboga. They get ibogaine from iboga, and ibogaine is used to treat heroin addiction in Canada, in Mexico, in the UK.
Not here, though.
It's not legal in the States. It's not legal.
It'll be in 20 years.
It's too late. Too many people are going to die. People are going to Mexico, and I know people have smuggled ibogaine in to treat their families with tremendous results. not only does it work for drug addiction, but it works on a psycho-spiritual way. Like, it allowed me to merge with my soul. It allowed me to have self-love, to forgive. I didn't even care about forgiving. I just wanted to feel better.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's nothing short of a miracle.
So wait, is it like a pill you take?
So iboga is a root bark. The plant is called Tabernath iboga, the Latin term. It comes from Gabon, Africa, and it's been used by the Bwiti. It's an African tribe. It's been used by the Bwiti for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. The Pygmies actually found this because the story is a Pygmy hunter was out, and he was hunting, and he didn't find anything. But when he came back, he found a porcupine in a trap. So he brought the porcupine home. He passed out. His wife cooked up the porcupine. He was sleeping. She ate it. And then she had all these visions and all this information came to her. And when he woke up, he's like, what the heck is going on? She didn't know. So they went to the chief elder, and he said, well, what did you eat? And he said, well, we ate the porcupine. So they went to see where the porcupine was, and the porcupine was eating this root.
Got it.
So this is the story, because nothing's written down, but this is the tradition.
Right.
So the Bwiti tribe is the tradition that I use this iboga in. Ibogaine comes from iboga. It's not used in the tradition of the Bwiti like I did, which the tradition is very important. So when I traveled to Costa Rica, this guy, Steven, at Iboga Healing, he is trained Bwiti. And he served it in the traditional way. And after my first ceremony, it was a detox, mental, physical, spiritual detox. And I could feel it because my
Start tripping and stuff?
It's not tripping in the sense of acid and shrooms and even ayahuasca. This is more of a physiological feeling where you're open. It's a lucid feeling. It's not like you're out of control, but it's definitely an experience that I can't even.
And I hate to say this, I could go on much longer. I've only got a couple of minutes. But it has worked for you. And you've tried so many other things, and I've watched you struggle. But this is working.
Not only has it worked for me, it's worked for hundreds and thousands of people. I'm just the first person to come forward. Like, I'm like with reckless abandon. I'm going to be an ambassador for this medicine because it's helped me. 2 of my fellow people from Rosemyer are in Iboga Healing right now. 2 more are booked.
And if someone out there is having problems, like what you're talking about, like what you've gone through, what do you want them to do? Do they look you up on Facebook?
They could find me on Facebook.
Tucker Rosemyer.
Tucker Rosemyer on Facebook. That would be the easiest
Slice,
way. Slice Pizza. I mean, like, I don't really put my personal name on the Slice page for various reasons, But just find me on Facebook. Send me a personal message. Yeah. Whatever, you know what I mean? I'm willing to talk to anybody about this medicine because it heals 100% on a level. If you're using opiates, if you're hooked on Xanax, if you're depressed, if you have anxiety, if you have suicidal thoughts, this medicine is nothing less than a godsend. It's a miracle.
And you do it once, or you do it every 6 months?
It was 2 ceremonies. Okay. So some people have deeper.
And you don't need to take it like every day.
Now,
or every week?
You don't need to take it every day, and like even with ayahuasca, people need to return to the medicine. Once you're healed, you're healed. So it's like if you got a sickness, you use antibiotics. Once you're healed, you stop taking the medicine. If you keep taking it, it could actually hurt you. And it's the same thing with this. Now, me personally, I went for an extra 2 weeks because I took a pre-initiation to be into this Bwiti tribe. Why would I want to go to Africa? And what am I going to do there?
Yeah.
I'm Irish Italian. I'm going to go to Africa. But now I have such reverence for this medicine that I'm going to Africa. And I'm going to become a provider of this medicine.
That is amazing.
To help people.
Listen, you are amazingly successful and talented. I am so glad to see that you're on the straight and narrow.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure all your friends and family feel exactly the same way.
Yeah, for sure.
But having the courage to come on and talk about this, I just want to thank you.
I'd love to do it again. Anytime you want to have me on, we could
when you have more on this root, this bark,
Iboga,
we'll get you back in. And best of luck. And thanks for the food, too. Your food's amazing.